Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman show. I am so excited to introduce you to a beautiful heart. Leni Morrison is a dear friend of mine who I actually first connected with way back in the day on a retreat in Avalon. And she is a multidimensional vibrational healer, very cosmic, very quantum. And Leni's here to talk to us a little bit about her new way of working. So, Leni, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Sweet, sweet soul. It's so good to be here. So good to feel you and be in this cosmic chat. I'm really well, and a lot is changing. I feel like a lot of us are going through thousands of light years in 1 hour at the moment.
Definitely.
So it's definitely accelerating, and a lot is happening in our bodies, and it can be, uh, I would say, we can't really compare it to anything that we've ever had or experienced or felt. So a lot of what I'm doing now is hopefully, through my own learning, sharing and growing together in this community. I sense at the deepest level that the time for reaching out to many, many souls to work together is where it's at right now, rather than, or I don't mean rather than, maybe it's just a more inclusive wholeness that's coming through with healing. And so I guess that's probably why we're sat here in this beautiful moment, having this conversation and sharing some experiences. Mm.
Beautiful. I can feel all the heart energy just opening up between us, and it's interesting because I think you're absolutely right. I've never known a time like this. I think there's never been a time like this on this planet or in this dimension. The message I brought through this morning on my Instagram was about being brave enough to fully open our hearts. And because sometimes I think fully opening into sacred union within and opening your heart and working from that heart mind connection can feel a little bit scary. We've been so conditioned against it for so long.
Yeah.
And it really is like there's this whole humongous reunification process going on within each individual, but also as a collective, remembering that we're part of that oneness of the divine. And I know that's very much how you work. Can
Mm.
you just talk to us a little bit about how your process works and how it got started?
Yeah, beautiful. Um, I've always, as a child and then through life, I've always, my mission has, or my feeling has been that I've wanted to reach out and help people. Um, and now it's getting louder and louder, because we want to reach. When I say we, I mean all that I am, the team that work through me in this quantum field, but also honoring my own higher self, allowing the light that I am to come into this body has been really interesting in the journey that I've been on as a healer for years, or in the healing communities. I always thought that I needed to channel other entities or beings, but actually we're channeling our highest self, which is within a consciousness
Mm.
that is that is God. We're within the all that is, and when we fully step into that I am presence, and it's really been quite a difficult journey, if I'm honest, because I've gone through so many initiations, and I'm still going through them, and I don't think we'll ever fully arrive, because that's what the ascension is. It's the mastery constantly in each second, where you are fully present. And so in that there's a lot of judgment when you go through those layers and levels of your alignment into the all. You also have to face persecution and the shadow self I've been walking through. I'm like, wow, it's been I feel like, actually, if I'm really really open with you, I found that The last few years, particularly since the last 6, 7 months, it's all been walking through my shadow in a way that it's brought out my warrior, and I feel like that warrior within all of us is the wounded warrior, whatever you want to call that Chiron archetypal, that part of you, that shadow, that part of you that may have been enslaved through belief systems and false light programs, is really for me right now, and I know for so many, not just for me. Whenever I say me, I mean the all of us, is like we're going through at such an accelerated speed the release of that shadow, but also the choices we're making to either embrace that shadow and bring her into your light, or bring it into your part of your mastery, or release it into the earth and let it go to be deleted and transmuted. And it's like I'm getting that really strong feeling of right now, the initiation I'm going through is learning to respect, honor, and love the light that I am.
Mm.
And all of these very interesting situations are happening where I'm getting huge lessons, uh, where I've been literally slaying dragons, for want of a better word, where I've met all of the types of souls that are mirrored back to me, showing me where I haven't honored my energy, my love, my magic, my whatever you want to call it, my light, my information. So I would be very honest, as wonderful and incredible as particularly the last 6 months I've said, have been, they've also been excruciatingly difficult, because the more you enter into your light body, the more you see what needs to be released with love.
Mm.
So I've had a lot of forgiving, loving, releasing, loving, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you, and letting go. I feel that since I've been on a journey inward for probably millennia, aeons. In this lifetime, certainly, getting to see and know and sense glimpses of the higher light that I want to embody in this human experience, which is beautiful. But since going, in all honesty, to sort of go back to your question, what's coming through in this process of diamondizing my body, of crystallizing my body, my organs, my cells, my blood, uh, in that, as you receive a lot of information, you also have to go through the pain of letting go, as I said, and it's very lonely, even
Mm.
though we're moving into a whole community,
Mm.
in a union, in a dance, in a cosmic soup together. There's also, for me, it's been extremely lonely as well, because I've just had to go. Nobody else can do this for me.
Mm.
Nobody can give me the medicine to make this go. I have to sit in my inner world processing has been, it's interesting, metaphorically closing doors, but psychically and metaphysically and clairvoyantly opening many more doors. So in the opening and closing of certain doors, I've gotten to learn a lot, and I have gotten to access a lot more of the light of why I'm here, or what I'm here to do with a group. So I had been, um, for many years, seeking, and going to all sorts of extraordinary, um, conferences and talks and meetings, and in circles, in South America and in Australia, and in Mexico. I've been drawn to go all over the world, like as a crystal singer. We're always on the move. We're always, as an Avalon rose, we're always trying to find the other petals. We're always trying to dance together, aren't we? You know this. This is why I know you, right? This is why we go, hey, I meet my sister, and I know you, and we feel each other. And I'm meeting more of, since I've come into my own, um, opening that door within myself. You know, in that very, very tuned into the earth, but also very, as a star soul, very tuned into my cosmic intel. And so it's bringing them together. So when we're bringing those higher echelon heavens into the human body, and we're releasing those lower echelon heavens from the old earth body, it can be extraordinarily, the inner alchemy is just, it is hard to, it's a language of the soul, so it's very difficult to put it into words. It's a feeling, it's a vibration. So on one of these journeys, I was told by Cryon, who I'm a part of, that you know, in my one of my cosmic soul selves has an aspect of this very power, you know, beautiful magnetic resonance. And he did tell me in 2017, 2018, that I would be bringing through a new modality, and that there would be an Indian influence. And he said, actually, you need to go to India. So before the pandemic, I was planning to go to India. But then India came to me in a most extraordinary way. I, I had started to teach. I had forgotten about that, if I'm very honest with you. I had actually, of course, it's exciting information, but I had actually, the seed was planted, but I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to bring in a modality or anything. It just is happening now, and it
Oh,
was someone else reminded
Leni,
me.
we just lost your sound.
Oh, really? Are we back in the house?
Oh,
Have we got sound? This can happen sometimes.
oh, that's. Do you know what? That was quite amazing because while you were talking, it was like it was like you were disappearing. Your obviously the backdrop, but
Uh,
your arm started disappearing, and then it was like that.
your sound is gone now, sweetheart. This is a high vibrational talk, so yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Like I'm just going to leave this all in because that
Oh,
was a reset.
completely.
That was
Well,
like I'm hearing cosmic reset, and
this is
this is what we're in, right? They're talking to me about, as you were talking, I was getting this. We're all being forced to drop our masks and to drop those masks that we, not just that we wear, but that we embody. And it's the masks that keep us from seeing ourselves, even those internal masks, those internal doors and walls that we have created, for want of a better word, or manifested, or in order to what, protect ourselves from what, ultimately from
ourselves.
truth, and both work with the diamond frequency.
Yeah,
And the diamond frequency to me is the highest vibration of truth, and that's as simple as it gets. And when you work with that, there is no hiding anymore. You can't hide from not your shadow or your shame, but also not from your light and your gifts. And the beauty of talking to you here today is the way that you are completely owning who you are and have stepped so comfortably into it. And even with people watching this will see, and we talked about it before doing the interview, that often when you're speaking your eyes are closed, and that just says to me that you're streaming that consciousness, you're in that slipstream of truth, and
yeah.
you're very much working from that state. And this is the kind of true state, isn't it? And in that mastery is absolutely beautiful. And it's integrity is the word that I would give it. This is, and as you said, the further kind of into our truth we drop, the
Mm.
more layers that we see. And there's like this, I'm Libra, so it's like, whoa, both sides of the scale to the nth degree. And coming back into that center of love. And it's through that lens of divine love, truth, that we're able to offer love to all those parts of us, often I want to say, mirrored back in the other, because we're here as a collective. And like you say, those of us who have, lost friends or had to move away from relationships, but always, always, they are the teacher. They are the teacher and the stepping stone on the path back to that oneness.
Oh, it's so beautiful when we can understand that this person is your greatest teacher. Because if you can't be shown, that lesson mirrored back to you, you can never grow, you can never expand. So I'm very grateful, even though it's been thick and fast, and it's almost relentless. Like as a
Mm.
cosmic wave intel, I feel like I've been going through a tsunami and like ah, but when you cannot take it personally as well, and you just go, oh, this is the clearing, and the whole collective out there is going through the world soul releasing and the old world letting go of so we're all going to be triggered we're all being um quite triggered a lot late more than ever as we step fully into our sovereignty, and our warrior is allowed to, and it's a peaceful warrior. It's a warrior of um like I love this warrior that's coming in, because I want to walk with all aspects of me in light. And of course, like we said, it this light, this diamond light that I'm working with, that we are feeling, it's so clear. There's transparency. It's so pure that what can happen in healing, or when you're having a very intense soul light um, chat, or integration with another, is they will disappear,
Mm.
and I will disappear. I've
Mm.
worked with souls and we've disappeared, and what doesn't disappear is the I,
Yeah.
the all-seeing eye that you see through. And in fact, I was lately talking to one of my soul brothers who's working in this modality with me, and it's happened. You're sharing from your heart, and the other person's heart opens, and there's no fear. There's just this moment,
Mm.
and your hearts are both open, and in that you become all and everything, nothing and everything in that same second, and they do disappear.
Mm.
And that is something that I am sensing more and more. When we become the light that we are, we are in this vibrational cosmic energy that the flesh, the skin suit disappears.
Mm.
So we are seeing, or not seeing, more of this. No pun intended. Um, so it's a beautiful, beautiful time, if there is such a thing as time anymore.
Mm. That's the other question, isn't it?
But I think as we release that, um, matrix inside our mind, time has no place anymore, because it was a construct a man made, or an out of human construct that is not for that pressurized, that pressurized way of being, and enslaved is is literally where you have to observe it, detach from it. And once you release the matrix from your mind, and you step out of it, and then the time thing, there is no such thing as time anymore, which is very exciting as well to observe. And as you know, a day feels like 10 minutes right now, doesn't it?
It really
So,
does. Really experiencing it. The other night I was sitting on my couch and just had this extreme moment of there being no time. It was like eternity stretching, and yet it was, dancing on a pinprick. It was just like, whoa. And it was really interesting because ordinarily a moment of reverie like that might feel a little bit ungrounding, but actually at the same time, it felt so earthing and so grounding. It was like I was here now, and now was eternity at the same time. And that's the beauty of that, when we can sit in the now moment. I know there's multiple schools of thought around spiritual practice and spirituality. And for me, it's both, it's bringing both polarities together. And I've had people who have, go out and actively do lots of clearing work, which I've done, and people who go, oh, we just need to sit in presence. But ultimately, it's both. It's like, sit in presence, be in the now until you know that absolute truth, and then take action. We're here to bring heaven to earth. It's both male, female, active, inactive. It's all that oneness, isn't it? And to me, in that stunning place of timeless neutrality, of unconditional love, or whatever you would call it, divinity, divine love, that's where it happens more like an unfoldment, doesn't it? The truth unfolds, and it can happen like that. It can just drop in so automatically when you're in that space. And that's that, so heart open, just beautiful.
So beautiful, because it's like when you are in that alignment and you're breathing and your heart is open, healing happens, and it can happen when that soul is ready in an instant. And I think that's why when I moved out of, I'm still of course learning, we're always learning, but when I came out of the time matrix, um, I noticed that instantaneous healings can happen because you're not in a linear, oh, I have to go through all of these processes, oh, I have to struggle and bring up all of my past abuse, oh, I have to, in this new modality, in this new healing, um, we acknowledge and accept that as a soul, if you've been here in the evolutionary process since you were an atomic level, at a molecular, at a star dust level, and you are here now on this ascending earth, that if you accept that and you understand that and you understand that and you through stand that and all of the ways of accessing that,
Overstand that.
yeah, you will accept that within your body, within your morphogenetic field, you're going to be carrying certain scars, certain wounds. And it's in the acknowledgement and the allowing of that just to be, and also just to, rather than attach to the story and the pain of, all of your past lives, if you keep, and your present life, if most of us have trauma in our present life. We've just come through we are all of us going through a huge time on this planet for releasing a lot of, all of the old stuff, if you want to call it that. And so we've had time given to us, we've had space given to us to go through processes, particularly the last few years, because we were locked in our homes. We had nothing else to do but go in. So all of that has brought up, that's why this time is, this now moment is very precious. This now, it's funny, you say you've moved out of time, but you realize how much you use that word time in your life.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, it's just a now. It's a now. And as I said, I'm still processing. I'm learning. I don't have all the answers, but I do feel that if you can access this light, if you can allow it in through the breath, um, magic can happen. If you are in alignment and you've cleared, certain things akashically. But what we do, or karmically, or with Gaia, or all the layers and levels, but what we are bringing together with our energies or vibrations or frequencies is we are working with, for what we're going to call 10-minute activations. And we are, my work, for example, the what I was saying about what Cryon was telling me was I work a lot with star seeds, because I'm a star seed, star soul, um, and I have a lot of information that I want to share with people who want to access information and realities. That part of my mission is to help other souls understand the picture. And so, as I was teaching a course in January of this year, um, I was in the third. It was a three-hour sessions, and in the third hour where we were doing the meditation, um, and we had opened up. I had already spoken to these other healers at this stage about this new modality, and in this um, meeting or this meditation was group from all over the world. Paramahansa Yogananda came through, and it was extraordinary light. And I said to the group, here is Paramahansa Yogananda. And in that breath, I looked at my two palms, and they had on them two third eyes. And they were like cartoon eyes. And prior to that, I had been asking for a different type of way of working with people, because I did a lot of, as I said, hands-on work with people. And in that hands-on work, I was removing a lot of entities and attachments. And what I've learned this in this new light is that if I take others' entities from them physically with my body, and I take them on, then I'm actually not only doing a disservice to my soul and having to work through other people's entities in my body, I'm also doing a disservice to that soul who handed over their entity.
Mm.
Because once they hand over their entity to me or a healer, then they leave a space in their morphogenetic field for another one to jump in. Because I'm actually taking away, when I remove your entity in that way through my hands, through my work as a, in other ways as a healer in my past. I'm going to say past life, because I feel like I've just done that so many lifetimes, but in this life too. But if I take away I disempower their God consciousness, that they can command that light or that level or that lower level being or entity to feed off them. If they can't command it to leave, then I'm taking away their God-given power. So my
I
understanding.
completely agree with this. I think this is part of the empowerment. It's an entity attaches because there's something there to attach to, and they've got to do the work either through facilitation or to go in and release the program of why they need that entity there in the first place. How is it serving them?
Right.
And yeah, I agree. I think we're just going to pull entities off. That's can be a bit of a pointless exercise, because if it's not ready to go, or if they haven't done the work underneath to figure out why it's there in the first place, and that's not up to us, we can facilitate that, let them know, help them to clear that program.
Yeah.
um
Yes. So that's.
I want to ask how, sorry Leni, carry on.
No, it's ask me anything, but I wanted just to finish what I knew that those third eyes and Paramahansa Yogananda, that came in with the telepathic intel, that
Mm.
it, and this is just for me. I don't want to diss anybody who's doing hands-on work. This is just for my particular, for how I am now light working, that um it is for me, it's in alignment to do my work in the quantum field, if you will, to tune in at a in that way through the light, not through touching the skin suits, the bodies, if
It
you
also
want.
acknowledges, that also acknowledges that we're all one on some level anyway, even the entities, it's like we're all part of that oneness. There's nothing outside of that divine.
Mm.
It's so resonating. I mean, this is how I work as well. It's all love. There's nothing outside of it. It's just alchemizing, isn't it? More than feeling like something's wrong and we have to go and fix it. It's allowing it to unfold in the most perfect divine way. Is that right? Does that resonate?
Um, well, I think love just is, and it doesn't need a definition. But
Mm,
right now, I don't want to say what's right or what's wrong. I just want to sense into what we're what we're actually sensing when we close our eyes. That's why I close my eyes, because when I open my eyes, I go into the mental, into the mind, and then I get distracted and the channel is changing and the information changes. So when we close our eyes, our information is literally coming through that dimension of the unity consciousness, which is our hearts opening and moving, if you will, in through the third eye, into the mind, and down back again through the breath. What Paramahansa Yogananda was showing me, and I've had a big journey with him since I was 16. I started to tune into him, and of course read his autobiography. Oh wow, what an amazing story. And then I've always felt a connection with him through my life over the last, I suppose that this is 30 years later. He's jumped in now, appearing now, which is beautiful. But he showed me this breath
mm,
that I am now using. He showed me in that meditation with my starseed group that breath. And I think when we go deeply with the breath he showed me, he showed me three types of breath to work in this modality. And I think that's what Cryon meant by you have to go to India. Well, I think that India in that moment through Paramahansa Yogananda was coming in for
mm.
this healing. Now we'll see where this goes, right? But can you repeat your question again, Alex? Because I just want to make sure I honor the question.
To me, the way I see healing is more of an alchemy.
Right, an
And
inner
it's through
alchemy.
that allowing that acceptance that through
Yes.
love that things can transmute rather than when I do healing, and particularly when I do Archangel alchemy or precious wisdom or any modality that I use, it is seeing everything as already perfect, healed, and whole, and then allowing it to unfold into that through unconditional love, more than looking at what is wrong, how do I fix it. So say that someone has an entity, oh my god, we've got to get that entity off them. If you can see the entity as part of love that just needs to it's part of a transmutation, isn't it? And often if we understand, like I said, if we understand why it's there, or we understand what we're perceiving to be a wound or what we're perceiving to be a lower frequency or whatever, once we understand that it is a blessing and that it's a teacher and that it's a lesson, then it can move to a higher frequency.
Yes, and I think it's, you know, in the spiritual warrior phase of our enlightenment or our soul's evolution, it's important to, I feel it's necessary to look at everything from all perspectives.
Absolutely.
Because what I used to deem as oh, they're low vibes, or they're bad, or they're, that was part of my one of my initiations, because of the new age teachings that went on in the 80s and 90s. There was a lot of duality and polarity and pitting against, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole spiritual movement was almost like healers were pitted against each other, which is almost the antichrist movement. It's not the Christ movement. The Christed light, and that's not a religious thing. I mean by the pure cosmic light of compassion, forgiveness, openness, is where, okay, we might see within our mirror as we integrate with others or move with others what shadows are there. But rather than pretend they're not there, and
Mm-hmm.
rather than push them away and escape them, now is a time in our loving, open hearts to embrace all that we are, but maybe have a different perspective.
Mm,
And right now I'm going through, I have dishonored my own light by giving it too freely or giving it away to others. And then I get shown the most extreme examples of people taking advantage of me.
mm,
That's my big lesson.
mm,
And now I can use my humor to say, thank you, God, for showing me all of these characters that are aspects of me
mm.
that needed to come scratching at my door. Can I have? Give me. I want. And I've had that literally, that has been, wow. Thank you, dear teachers. They frustrated me at the time. I won't pretend it was easy. I cannot be all love and light. I have to be real.
Yeah, it's human.
And being human and accessing all that I am, that level of that certain frustration,
Mm.
because I think a lot of us have gone and probably said to ourselves, but I've been on this journey 30, 40 years now. I remember the harmonic convergence in 1987. And why is it? And what, and it's like, and I'm part of that too, that frustration of why can't, everything be, in the ideal world? Why can't we all just see that the way we've been operating is just not working, where we've abused each other, where we've taken advantage of each other, where we've betrayed and lied to each other. And I think each of us right now is starting to see that we've been everything.
Yeah,
We've been the betrayer, we've been the betrayed, we've been the abuser, we've been abused, we've
yeah.
been the saint, we've been the devil, we've been, and it's in that
Well,
multi,
we all still are all of that,
and we
probably. You know,
are,
yeah.
we're always going to be everything and all in this wholeness that we're moving back into as we come into, we're just at the beginning of this golden age, if you like, and it's all very exciting, but it's also uh, it's a real time of, as I said in the beginning, when you go through that working or in alignment with that cosmic Christ Sophia consciousness, you have to allow that you have many, many shadows, that you have to start loving them back into your light or
Mm,
releasing them with love out to be transmuted.
mm,
So, and then I always say to my clients, you will know in that moment, do I hand this over to God or do I bring this in for my God consciousness? And your heart will open with the yes, and your ego will close you down with a no. So your intuition will always guide you. It has to come from the codes flashing in your DNA. It has to come from within you. That authentic voice that's coming up right now is a really honest, pure, pure, pure stream of consciousness. So, in that, there's going to be filtering, there's going to be alchemizing, there's going to be shadow work, of course. But as long as we understand that the warrior's journey is that peaceful warrior that I'm talking about, is taking that time to just process and release within her own heart or his own heart or their own hearts what I'm going to let go and what I'm going to let in. And we, all of us, if we're tuned into that Christed cosmic Sophia light more and more, and that is through meditating, through time with yourself, lying down on the earth, doing whatever your body, because it's your body that's diamondizing, it's your physicality that's going up through all of these layers and levels, not just your soul. So it's a huge journey, and I think that every second, and I don't say this lightly, every second, Alex, we're getting shown more and more and more of who we are, and more and more and more of who we are no longer. And so we're in a very interesting time, but I
so
don't think there's any,
interesting.
the answers keep coming.
They're just, they're just talking to me. They just want me to kind of talk to the healers among us, the other healers, our fellow beautiful healers who are in service. And I've noticed myself recently, and you might have had this too, Leni, where there's almost been, since the pandemic, or while we were in the pandemic or slightly towards the end of it, I noticed this almost this dragging back into our humanness on a much deeper level, in a way that, like, myself and a few other healers I was talking to almost felt this, oh God, do I just need to quit and go and get a normal job? Do I just need to go back into 3D? Do I go back into, and it was almost like this compulsion. Now, part of that feels a bit like an agenda to me, but also I think that it's part of the catapult. It's a bit like, I see it like the ocean tide. It's like a slingshot going right back into that density. And it reminds me of Neo in the Matrix, where he exits the Matrix and then he drives past the noodle shop and goes, oh, I used to really love those noodles. It's like we're letting go, or we're letting be parts of our humanness that are no longer serving us. And you might go through a grieving process, as we ascend in these frequencies. And as you said, it's very lonely. I've definitely been feeling that, but it's like they're coming in just with this message of reassurance for those of us, because I find that as you're about to level up, sometimes there might be this feeling of wanting to run for the hills and just, oh no, I'm not ready for that. I want to go backwards. I want to go back to how I was before. And I think that's part of the message of take the risk, open your heart, take that next leap of faith, go to that next level. And I can certainly see in you that you've come through that you've come past that. And this is what we're seeing in Leni here, is that light really shining through. My goosebumps are going really crazy, and it's lovely. So even as you speak to me here now, I can feel the embodiment of that. And it feels like I just want to speak to people that if you feel like you're going through that, I mean, Leni here is like poster girl for having come through that. It's absolutely stunning that you're through that threshold. And it does feel like an intense threshold, even though it's all now. It will feel very like your human is going through death throes and is coming out the other side. And I know what that feels like. I think I've been through that, and you've been through that several times, but this is another level.
This is another layer of our God consciousness coming online, um, and it is one thing I really feel is important to share as well with anybody out there that is getting these incredible downloads or visitations, or supernatural, whatever you want to call it, reality diving into, glimpsing of, whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you're experiencing. What I've noticed over the years, but particularly after the intel through Paramahansa Yogananda in January, once all of that light comes into your body from it could be an angel or a master or your higher self, whatever it is, there's a for me, and maybe this will help the listeners, there's a when that amount of light comes in, it's like you're almost going to short circuit, like, because so much I've had several this year, particularly I've had them throughout my life with Kundalini activations, but this is different. This is maybe it's because I'm in a different space with it, or a different space-time continuum with it. You're going, if you can accept that extreme bliss, let's just call it extreme bliss, when you connect through that God light, there's a bliss that comes, there's an ecstasy, there's a divine, there's just this beautiful celebration within every cell of your being. Now, what that also brings with it is you have to have a death of the slave self. Now, that could be whatever that needs to be. So you will, I've noticed, this is just my own experience, and if it helps others, you may be expected then to go through the shadow of the release of that. And that can be very lonely, and that can be extremely difficult. So, what I want to share is that life is ebb and flow. And when it gets really hard because you're not tapping constantly into that cosmic wave, that diamond light, because you were always pushed from pillar to post with human experiences. There's a world outside of you with many other realities in a soup that is chaotic. So please be gentle. Please be gentle on your soul as your body releases the death of the old you, the old identities. Entities are part of your identity,
Mm.
and everybody has entities,
Mm.
okay? Every soul. It's just that some of them are louder and allowed through the ego to have more presence than others. So once we come into the knowingness that each of us at any moment can be triggered, but I believe when we pop our hands over our heart, close our eyes, come right into the body through the breath, slow everything down, and just acknowledge I have experienced extreme unity, and this extreme separation is part of the release. That it is when we go through extreme either unity or extreme isolation, we come back into the other at certain points. And this is how we oscillate, this is how we alchemize. It's where we try not to take it too personally, that we also just come back in through the breath. And every day, just as the sun rises, is a new day. Same with you. Your soul is going through extraordinary light years of change in 1 second. So be gentle with all of that light that's coming in, and as all of that old shadow or old earth body stuff needs to go. That is really, I think, it's important for souls to just be so gentle and see everything through that very Christed lens of forgiveness of self, compassion for other. Christ consciousness, what is that? It's about doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. So everything that's coming up now for all of us is a karmic return. And if we pit against it and fight against it, we're missing the message of
Mm.
light, forgiveness, compassion. And it helps us to release, because if we don't start working for team humanity now, if we don't start, that is why this movement that I'm starting with these beautiful healers, Deirdre, Michel and Vinay, Vyas, where we work together, we get in this cosmic intel, we send this light from this through the breath that we've been shown with Paramahansa Yogananda. We can hopefully bring, as we want to train 1 million people on this planet. We want to spread this love light as far as God consciousness can be spread. So
Leni, can I just, on a practical note here, can you just talk us through how you're giving these healings or how you're transmitting this? Is it just through a teaching? Are there sessions? How does it
yes,
work?
yes. Well, we've been doing via Zoom
Okay.
these sessions with we've done this activation work now since January, and we are inviting in people in my group, for example, people who come to see me through my own sessions, and I teach meditations and I do courses. So I have a group, and I asked them would they like to experience what we call these light activations. So we give them a time, and we give them, for example, we say at 12 o'clock from 12 till 12:10, you will be in what we're going to call a healing light pod, and we three then we will get. So say for example, Johnny goes into the pod, and we've placed him into that healing pod. Then we open up. We use the breath that Paramahansa Yogananda has given us. Um, Once we're in alignment and we're in that mastery of light breath, we then get all of this intel. So I get a lot of the way I work light work is I will feel what's in the morphogenetic field, the hormonal imbalances or the bones, the blood. I will get a picture. I will scan that soul. I'll also see, the etheric and the all the fields and whatever. If I'm sensing a lot of entities,
Mm.
I will no longer be able to breathe because I get choked by entities. So if I sense that there's entities around this soul, we will immediately start to send the Christ light and ask that that soul gets the energy to command that entity to leave their body. Um, Also, we get one of the healers, Deirdre Michel, that I work with, and she gets what we call, she does remote viewing. In fact, the two of us were doing remote viewing and selling and buying houses for people all over the world, um, with extraordinary results, right? Because we would clear the land and we would see what needed to go and what needed to come in. And so we were working like that, but she gets these sigils. So she will, and she's working very closely with her mastery with Kuan Yin. So we have a lot of, this cosmic intel, but we work very, very clearly with Gaia. We are very much tuned into the diamond and the crystal energy of the new earth. I've been shown the crystal grids of the new earth, and I know how to access them through the breath. So, and then Vinay is this beautiful, who I was doing work with. I'm a musician, and what he does is, how I met him was through the music, but what he does also is he's been in the jungle for years, working with the vibration of flowers and trees and plants, so very elemental. And he gets, shall we say, a spiritual song that he will then sing into that soul. So between the sigils, the sounds, and the songs, and the channel that I get, we do that within, we said 10-minute activations. The people are reporting phenomenal things that are happening to them and for them since these activations. So we asked all of them, as an exchange of energy, could they give us a review or a testimonial? The testimonials are, they speak for themselves. So what you will be able to see these testimonials when we get our website up and all that. All of that is happening right now. We are next week doing work with a group in Los Angeles, and we're going to start working. As I said, I want to train. We want to train a million people in this mastery of light breath work. And we want to work with so many souls, because we believe everybody's a healer. We believe everybody can be part of this community, this unity consciousness movement. So we are inviting in people into this healing pod. We're going to teach the breath, and then everybody is activating, everybody is sending. And we believe in prayer. We believe in connecting through our power of our word into the God conscious stream. And this is the year of the miracle, Alex. This is the year of the miracle, and I really, really, really feel excited. I can't tell you. I'm almost floating here. I feel so,
I can feel it.
I find it hard to keep my hands down, as you've probably noticed. I feel so excited about where this is going to take humanity. I really feel like this is going to awaken the Christ at hearts, the Sophia Christ at hearts of all humanity. So we are doing as many live activations via Zoom on Meetup. You'll find it. Also, we're doing one-on-one or 3-to-1 sessions. We're open to helping as many people. We want to do group healings, but we also are very happy to do private sessions. So that's where it's all opening. It's like the petals of 1,000 lotus flower. It's all opening. It's all happening, and I see it moving in a beautiful dance around the earth. So I think once we start working with groups, everybody just wants to spread love and light. As far as I want to be part of this as a love light movement.
Beautiful, Leni. And so until the website is up, how can people get in touch with you so that they can get more information or sign up or connect?
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, I'm the least tech savvy person.
We all. I love it.
I find it's always
just tune into Leni via telepathy, and she'll download you and send you healing.
You're late. Come on, man. Why are you always late? It's the wrong year. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It's funny, you know. But we're getting there on the telepathic communication, right? But
Yeah.
if anybody wants to experience these light activations, you can find me on Leni Morrison. So LeniMorrison. I think I have a web page that we'll be adding more and more to as this grows and glows. So yeah, watch this space.
And I'll pop all Lenny's links below. And then once you get the website up and running, I can add it into the comments
Yeah. And
on
we would love
YouTube.
to gift you a light activation. We would love to, you know, because this is for
Sign me up, baby. It sounds great.
this is for everybody. There's no, we do not discriminate. Everybody is welcome to come into this healing experience. You know, one lady, just to share one of the testimonials has been, as I said, when the website goes up, and they're from all over the world, South Africa, Australia, England, Uruguay. There, I mean, it's been really interesting, the people who have connected to this. It's like they're all from all corners of the world, all different layers and levels of experiences. So, but one of our ladies that we worked on, after the activation, she went for a walk, and this guy appeared on the road, like literally out of nowhere, and he said, "My dog has gone missing." And she's like, "Oh, I'll help you find the dog." And so they go walking to find this dog. And suddenly the dog appears. Literally, she was like, the dog just appeared out of nowhere. And he said, "Thank you for helping me find my dog. And by the way, oregano will help with your Lyme disease."
Oh, just love it. We're living in the flow now, aren't we? We're just living in that flow. It's
Angels
beautiful.
among us. There's angels everywhere.
Yeah.
And and it's really, really exciting. Really exciting to work in the God consciousness, and the togetherness of this. So thank you.
Oh,
I always think spreading faith and hope is is what we can do. You know, it's what we can do. That's the movement behind this, is to renew faith that what I'm doing. There's millions of people doing this in their own way every day. Even just smiling at somebody is a gift of love.
mhm.
Um, so thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been extraordinary, beautiful to sit and share space with you, darling, and I can't wait
Just
to.
love you,
I
beautiful
love you too. I love you
thing.
too. I love you too. It's been really magical. I don't even know. Oh yeah, wow. I could sit and talk all day.
I know, and I could actually just sit in the energy that we have between us here all day. I mean, I just think this is it, to sit in this beautiful flow and just to share and to hear you speak and to feel you transmit, because that was a transmission, all of that. I really felt that really beautiful. And yeah, so those of you watching, I hope you've been able to bathe in some of these gorgeous diamond, celestial, crystalline, cosmic, gorgeous energies, and this beautiful, open-hearted frequency coming from this divine goddess that sits before me here. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure. And I could talk to you forever, Leni. We must meet up again soon. I must come. I have to
You're
get my.
always welcome in Sintra.
We'll
You're
come back to
always
Sintra. I
welcome.
love Sintra. I'm always loved swanning around a castle, darling, and that alchemist's house is
Oh, the
fantastic.
princess is here.
Love it, darling, darling. Oh, but thank you. Bless your heart, honey. Thank you
Oh,
so,
bless
so
your heart.
much.
I'm
And
amazed my cat didn't jump on my head. Usually in these meetings, the
they
cat
love it.
comes.
I love it. Usually Jezebel's outside the door yowling about now. Let me in. I want the energy. It's so gorgeous. So
No, she's
gorgeous.
like this. My cat.
He's probably zonked out in
Anyway,
the corridor. Oh, but thank you again. And
gorgeous.
to
Thank
all
you.
our beautiful, beautiful viewers as well today. We'd love to hear your feedback. Please do get in touch with Leni. Pop your comments below. Always love to hear comments and
Love to
feedback.
hear
And if
from
there's,
anybody.
as I said, if there's any topics that you would like me to cover on the show or anything, always great to know. Thank you for those of you who have put comments recently. I'm in the process of getting back to everybody. So Leni, my heart is singing. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much, my sister.
You, my sister. Lots and lots of love light. Take
Lots of love,
care.
love to everybody. Thank you.